be talking about a changeup. A changeup is usually your first pitch that you learn after you have learned the fastball. And with the changeup, there's two styles of changeup. One is a flip style changeup, and the other style is more of like a paralyze your wrist style changeup, where you're locking your wrist or you're stopping your wrist snap to get that change of speed. So the goal for your changeup is to destroy the batter's timing. With that said, I probably prefer a flip style changeup as a college coach, and I think that most college coaches out there will agree with me, but ultimately whatever works best for you is what's best for you. So with a paralyze your wrist style changeup, I remember a few years ago, actually many years ago, Michelle Smith describing one of the types of paralyze your wrist style changeup, which is a knuckleball, and she said that she believes that it would be obsolete one day because it takes away the wrist snap, and when you take away a wrist snap, the better hitters are going to be judging their timing of their swing, not just on how fast the pitcher's coming off the mound or how fast the pitcher is twirling her arm around in a circle, but how fast she's snapping her wrist. And the speed that these two fingers are swiping through that ball is the speed of the pitch, and when you take that away, they see something different is coming and they can hit it easier. So that is why I have a personal preference or bias of a flip style changeup. And there's several different types, because as long as you're snapping your wrist, that kind of makes it a flip style changeup. So first is a basic backhand, and a basic backhand is just a back spin, and that's what I usually start my pitchers off with because I've had great success with it. And the basic backhand is like you're showing the batter what time it is. So you grab, I use just a regular fastball grip and I keep it loose in the hand, and it's like you have that watch on and you're showing what time it is. So wherever the wrist is pointed on that backwards release, that's the direction the ball is going to go. And as far as your release point, the younger girls are going to have to hang on to it a little bit longer until this side develops, the antagonistic muscles of your fastball side. And once that side develops more, you'll see pitchers snapping right here in the same spot as their fastball, so that they're ultimately disguising it. And once they get to that point, I usually have them start to flip over the top, creating that corkscrew spin. When throwing a backhand changeup, you want to turn your wrist. If we were to break the circle up into quadrants, first quadrant, second, third, and here's my fourth, you want to turn in that last quadrant. So it's right before the hips. If you start to turn too soon, you're going to stress your shoulders and it could lead to injury. So it's very important that you have your pitcher, you work on turning on the bottom half of the circle right before they get to the hips. And of course, it's better disguised there as well. Make sure that they're not turning too late, or else they're just going to kind of twist through and the ball is going to come out with top spin, which is a drop ball spin, and not back spin, which is actually a rise ball spin. So make sure that they're turning before they get to their hip, and then shoot out, not up. Throwing the backhand changeup, you'll see a lot of pitchers throwing theirs too slow, and you really want to get about 75 to 85% of your fastball speed. So if you're throwing 50 miles an hour, I think that would be somewhere around 38 mile an hour changeup. So that's a 12 mile an hour difference. So with that said, you want to flatten your changeup out by strengthening the antagonistic side muscles, as well as learn to shoot out so that your fingers are parallel to the ground on the release and not breaking in an upward direction. All of that, it should be a follow through on the backhand changeup. So it's out, not up. All right, so point out, fingers parallel to the ground, and that is the fast half of the changeup and not on the deceleration half of the changeup. With the paralyze your wrist style changeup, I spoke about the knuckleball. And the knuckleball is where you freeze your wrist snap. And I've had a few good pitchers that have come through and absolutely loved that pitch and had great success with that pitch. So there's definitely nothing wrong with it, especially if it works for you. God made everybody different, embrace that and use it. The other paralyze your wrist style changeups, as I said before, is you can take a horseshoe change and you can take the wrist snap out of it, or you can take a circle change and you can take the wrist snap out of it by locking your wrist and just coming up. like that, like you're tossing a horseshoe. I actually teach mine a little bit different. I come across the body, very similar to the fastball, so it's very difficult for the hitter to pick up on because I do have a wrist snap. Spin is quite different because my horseshoe and my circle change, which I have the same spin, same release, just a different grip, actually have a corkscrew spin to it. So I am snapping my wrist. I'm just snapping across the top of the ball and pulling across my body. Again, very similar to what my fastball looks like. So it's very hard for the batter to pick up on. So with the backhand changeup, here are a few tools to help your pitcher learn the backhand changeup. First is a football. When you're throwing the backhand, you can just simply toss into your catcher like this, and you'll see that the ends, nose, ends, whatever these are facing between first and third, not pitcher's mound and home plate. So it's like you're showing what time it is, and then boom, release in front of their hips, point to where they want the ball to go. And then as they develop, they're gonna see that release point get a little bit tighter to their hips. And again, that's where I usually switched into turning over the top. And my pitchers can get some pretty good movement, you know, if they're right-handed, going away from that right-handed batter when they start to flip over the top with it. Another good tool to learn the backhand changeup is the easy rise ball. And I've used this in a lot of my other videos, curveball, drop ball as well, of course, rise ball. And you place your middle finger right here, splitting the colors, one color on one side and then one color on the other, and you just try to keep it there. So you try to keep the colors separated, and then after you get the release, you throw it like that. And then, of course, the double ball. And this is fun to toss and play catch with yourself with, and it looks like this. The spinner. What pitch is not awesome to throw with the spinner? And with the spinner, you want to place your middle finger right up the center and then flip. To mention is we've all seen the under the rope for a rise ball or over the rope if it's a drop ball. Learning to tunnel your rise ball, tunnel your drop ball. You can also do the same thing for your changeup in teaching your pitcher to make your changeup less archy, so it's not, you know, going out of that tunnel and then coming back in, but it's staying relatively flat by putting a rope about 15 feet in front of the home plate at the top of the zone, making the pitcher throw their changeup, and it has to stay under that rope. Another good idea with the changeup is almost any drill that you do to improve your fastball, you can also do to your changeup, and it will help you learn to disguise it better. Throwing a weighted ball when you're throwing your changeup helps you strengthen the weak side, which of course in turn is awesome because the strengthening the antagonistic muscles will also make your fastball faster, but it will also make your changeup easier to disguise. Same thing with the oversized ball. Okay, harder to hang on to. Working on grip strength, a lot of the younger girls have to get that tension grip, which is actually good because that is going to improve their grip strength so that they're going to get better spin rates, better fastball speed, and of course it's going to improve their changeup. So throw the changeup with the oversized ball as well. Other drills that your pitcher may already be doing to improve their speed on their fastball that you could throw with your changeup to improve the changeup would be like the 3-arm circle drill for speed, run-ins, skip-throughs, 2-step drill for speed for your fastball. Turn around and do it with your changeup as well. Distance throwing with your changeup is awesome. Again, it's strengthening the antagonistic muscles, which will help your pitcher. Also, alternating overweight and underweight with your changeup will help you improve your changeup. The overweight will increase the strength. The underweight encourages the fast twitch muscle, which is vital for every pitcher out there that wants to increase speed. Also, if you've seen my other videos, I'm big on using bat weights to improve the strength of the spins. You can do a bat weight to also throw with your changeup. I wouldn't necessarily toss it to a catcher unless you're at a close distance and throwing very slow, because it's hard on the catcher. But this will also improve the strength of that antagonistic side, which will disguise your changeup and make you faster with your fastball as well. A fun fact about the changeup is that Michigan coach Hutchins, she said one time, this was several years ago, so I'm sure that the numbers have increased by now, but that she had 18 All-American pitchers, and of those 18 pitchers, 16 of the 18, their dominant pitch was the changeup. So that just goes to show how important your changeup really is in pitching. And the last thing that you probably want to know about the changeup is when to throw it and how to use it. In the beginning, it's important to set your pitcher up for success and try to throw it on an 0-2 count so that they are purposely trying to throw it a little bit off the plate so that they're finding success by throwing a ball. That way it builds their confidence in the pitch. Always try to throw it every single inning. That way your opposing team is paranoid of it. One of the best things in the world that can happen to you as a pitcher is the opposing team yelling, "Watch the changeup," because that makes the batters paranoid of it, and it puts you up on a pedestal as a pitcher that you're good. Another great piece of advice about a changeup is to always aim your changeup slightly lower than your fastball. And the reason is because your changeup is slower, therefore it has a little bit more of an arc to it. And so since we have that arc to it, it always appears a little bit higher than it really is to the batter. So we want to anticipate that and just take that location of the pitch just a little bit lower. Mastering command of the changeup is very important because you want to be able to throw your changeup on any count, not just a 0-2 count, because you don't want to become predictable. In the beginning, a good idea is to always work the outside corner with the changeup, and you want to throw it to the batters that have your timing of the fastball and are pulling you. So if it's a right-handed hitter, you want to throw to the outside corner, right-handed batter, as a strike, as well as 1 or 2 ball lengths off the plate as a ball, as if it's a strikeout pitch. Be able to have command of both sides of the plate for both strikes and balls. Another important tip for the changeup is a lot of times, and I'm not sure the science behind it or the reason behind it, but if you know, you can write it down in the comments below. But when we throw our changeup and it has that backspin, it will hit the bat and it will typically reverse. So just like your rise ball, when it has that backspin and then it hits the bat, the ball reverses into a pop-up, just like if you're throwing a rise ball. So the tendency is when your changeup gets especially bunted for some reason, it always turns into a pop-up. So remember that, because that can help you with your strategy. If your fielders know that, that can also help them out as well. Good luck with your changeup, and I hope this video helps.